We are live. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Hello. Oh my gosh. I just did a post about like my nerves and I'm going to say it right off the bat. But I'm so excited. We are going to welcome someone super amazing today. I mean, all of my guests, incredible, amazing. But I am a little starstruck by this specific guest who came on my podcast. And I'll do a quick introduction. I'll do like how they start in podcasts where like the host just does this long story and then finally introduce the guest, right? Yeah. So I'm Dr. Stephanie Thrower. This is the Innovative Expert podcast, and I am going to jump right into talking about my guest and not do a long drawn out story. Today we have with us Mahoney, who is a digital marketing strategist, keynote speaker, and unapologetic advocate for mixing AI innovation with genuine human connection. Known online as the Prepared Performer, her viral videos have racked up more than 39 million views, and she's been featured in Forbes and Inc. After a decade performing on stages from New York to Las Vegas, Molly turned her knack for captivating audiences into a business in 2013, helping coaches, creators, and agency owners craft content that converts and turns their message into revenue-generating movement. Here's a fun fact that I think is so amazing. In 2021, she launched the world's first AI-focused content membership, giving entrepreneurs the tools to make more sales and a bigger impact without sacrificing their personality. She is an author of 5 books. Is that right? 5?
Yes.
She believes your weird is your superpower and stands for joy as a fierce form of activism. Her mission is simple. The more fun you have, the more money you make, and the more lives you will change. Welcome, Molly.
I am the one who is starstruck because I am obsessed with you and the brilliance that you bring into the world. So I'm super excited about this conversation. And as you know, I love what you create for humans, and it's so awesome. So I'm really, really grateful. And thank you for getting me onto Substack. I'm going to say thank you. We'll see how I do. This is my first adventure here.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's going to be amazing. And maybe it can be like a place where you don't have to perform like,
Yeah, maybe it's like a quiet, there's a song called A Quiet Thing. Do you know that song?
No.
I haven't thought about this song in a very long time, but it can make me cry actually thinking about this being the thing right now. And it goes, when it all comes true just the way you've planned, it's funny, but the bells don't ring. It's a quiet thing. And it talks about how like there's no big fanfare when things actually work out. It's just easy and things work.
What song is that from?
It's from something random. I don't even know. Candor and Ebb or something. I feel like I'm going to look it up. A Quiet Thing. Yeah, it is Candor and Ebb. What? How on earth I did that? I do not know. It's from Flora the Red Menace. Random show, but Liza Minnelli sang it.
I think I've heard that one section, which, thank you for singing. This is the first singing that's been done on my podcast.
Not expected at all, but there we go.
It's perfect. I was excited. The high school improv version of me is just like so stoked you're here, right? I'm like, oh, she knows how to roll with it, right?
She knows how to yes and.
Yeah, exactly. I love career stories. It's like the thing I want to. The moment I realized how much I love career stories was when I was giving birth to my first child.
Not what I expected. So amazing.
And I was induced, had no idea it was going to be like, days in the hospital. And I just all the nurses were incredible. Like all the shift. And I was just like, how did you become a nurse? What was the journey? What was the story?
You started your first podcast from the delivery room. I love it.
So your story is amazing and it is not linear. So what what have you learned in having a non-linear career and coming where you are now?
Man, it is wild. I think so. Just like the super quick bullet pointed version is I started as a musical theater performer. Well, for my very first job, which I don't know if you know this, I taught like dance and all that before, but my first like real gig, do you know what it was?
No.
Okay, I don't usually talk about this, but I'm going to tell the secrets on Substack. Maybe I'll start a new show called Substack Secrets. I was a singing, dancing cocktail server at the Rio in Vegas.
Oh my gosh.
And that job was called a bevertainer. Just so you know.
As if we need, like, I feel like my beverage does enough entertaining, you know, but I never thought, okay, you know what's great, drinks. Also, on top of that, we're going to add.
Yeah. So I would sing or dance. I had 4 songs that I'd rotate between every 4 minutes after the hour or something for my entire shift, which was 10 p.m. till 6 a.m., mind you. So I saw all of Vegas. And it was like in the regular part of the casino where kids were around, and I sang Something to Talk About was my main song that I sang. So I'd like, you know, people are talking, and I would pull the staircase out, punch my code in, and then it would go do Rio, and like flashing lights, and I would get up and like hit my pose, and then I would sing Something to Talk About, and then I'd go back to delivering drinks. And the stages were in the middle of slot machines. It was a wild adventure. So to say that I have done a lot in my career is like an understatement. So that was wild. And then I sang on cruise ships. I was a singing waitress, not cocktail server, waitress at Ellen Stardust Diner, off and on for 5 years, which was on Broadway. Amazing. And then I booked all these shows, auditioning in New York, which was so fun. The final big thing that I did was a national tour of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, also very normal.
Yeah.
And while doing all of that, I launched my first business as an entrepreneur, which was a handmade crochet and handmade felt accessory line called Molly Made Me.
Oh,
so it's a lot. It's a lot. It's been a fun adventure. And then after being on the tour with Chitty, I decided like I really had done as much as I wanted to do. My husband was a bass player. We got engaged and moved back to California. And then at that point, I had 10 different jobs in 10 different locations while I tried to figure out what I wanted to do next. And through lots of different twists and turns, that's what brings us here.
I know. And I mean, how does it become? Because I think that at least my generation growing up, it was like linear career paths meant success, right? Like, and I just feel like at this point, especially, we're seeing so much transition and success from that. But for you, I would imagine all this different work has only helped you.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Like all of it has been a new, it's like been a skill stacking for like really, you know, we could talk about AI skill stacking, but like it's been a stacking of skills. It's also been very interesting to strengthen the muscles of knowing this phrase, which I learned from Felicia Searcy, which is this or something better, and really trusting that things are happening for us. Because even today, you know, there's new opportunities that present themselves. And I find myself sometimes, while I have my very clear path of what we're building and our North Star is set as a team and we know what we're going toward. And I have this like 10-year plan that I've had for 15 years of wanting to have a center for creativity that brings people together and like co-working spaces and podcast studios and all this stuff. Underneath it all, there's so many decisions that we get to make. And it's like sliding doors or everything everywhere all at once, where I think like each of those decisions brings a totally new opportunity, and trusting the fact that it's this or something better. So like if things don't work out exactly as you have planned, it's probably because something better is actually happening.
Totally. And I think no matter what rules you try to follow, sometimes we miss the opportunity to listen to our gut in these decisions, right? Like so many of us can be caught in, well, what should I do, right? What is that, like, what does everyone else do? What are these successful people do? And I'm sure you have so many decisions every day that you don't have time to not be able to trust your gut.
Yeah. It's funny. Yesterday, I had a conversation with someone. I would love your thoughts on this, because I had a conversation with someone about a big decision that is like a secret big decision that I'm looking to make on the back end right now that like no one knows about. And I was talking to a lawyer about it, and this lawyer was like, it sounds like you want someone to tell you what to do. And I said, yeah, that's exactly what I want. And he was like, Molly, it does not work that way. I was like, well, I think usually, like, yet to this morning, Emma was like, put on your decision cap. I've got like, I have so many tricks that I give our members and our clients. But, I asked Chris Do a question recently, because I know I talk about Chris Do all the time, but in case anyone doesn't know who Chris Do is, I fangirl over him all the time. He's the founder of The Future. And I asked him, in terms of partnerships, like, saying yes to do this podcast with you is an easy hell yes, to be like, of course I want to do this with you, right? But there's a lot of requests that we get where we have like a whole system for whether or not we can actually fit it in the schedule, because my calendar is cuckoo cuckoo. And I asked him how he does that. And he looked at me, you will love this. I was like, what's your system for deciding what you're going to say yes to? And he said, well, first I went to therapy. Like, exactly. So he said, I realized I was stuck in people pleasing mode, and I was a constant people pleaser and really a caretaker is what he called it. And he said, he didn't say that word, but he was like, I got myself into a place where I hated my own company because I had done everything for everyone else. And I was sitting in my car, not wanting to go into my own business because I hated it so much. So I'm not in that place at all. I love my company and I love my team and our clients and all of that, but it's a tricky thing. So he said, really underneath it, if it's not a full on actual hell yes, he has to say no.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like, we're all in very different places in our businesses, right, too. But I do think that the gut, that connection to our intuition and what we should do is something we have to generate. We start to get disconnected from it over time. And we have to, like, it's like, again, being pregnant, it's like, what are my abdominal muscles again? Right. It's like, how do I feel that again?
Yeah. It's a muscle that you have to strengthen. I don't know why I feel very tangential today, so I'm going to not say anything else, but I agree.
I mean, I think it's not Stephanie Thrower, it's Stephanie Tangent. So that's
so my sister, this is not the tangent I first thought of, but my sister and I have this phrase, which I may have told you, which is live every day like you're pregnant. Because you have that like steady stream of nausea. You're making choices for yourself because actually growing another human. So you're going to say no to the right things. So if you just live every day like you're pregnant, you'll like make the right decision.
I love it. Yeah. Perfect. Except I'm going to need some sushi. I think that.
Oh, good point. And coffee. Live every day like you're pregnant, but eat all the salmon and all the coffee. That's
right. Totally.
And the wine. Okay. And the wine.
And right. Well, yeah. Okay. What is it like to be a leader in the AI space for entrepreneurs? Because it feels like it would be a lot.
Wait, yeah, say that again.
What is it like being a leader in the the AI space for entrepreneurs? Because I feel like it would be like a lot, but I want to know.
It's a lot, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
And another thing too is I feel like we are all leading together. Like you do amazing things that I'm like, oh my gosh, how does Stephanie do that? Like on the call, the last Multiply call, when Jane showed that app that she built for prompts, I was like, what? Like, I'm so grateful. And I've really gotten to a place where for the most part, like I every day check my ego at the door or try to check my ego at the door as well, because I think that we are all moving toward this leadership thing. While we're here on Dr. Thrower's couch, I will say that having started an AI program so far ahead of so many people. So I still think we did start the world's first AI focused membership. I do find myself sometimes not with imposter syndrome, but with it's like kicking myself syndrome or WTF syndrome.
Well, is it the opportunity costs? Like, is it the should have done this earlier, or is it?
Yeah, it's like if
Yeah.
there's one moment in particular that I look back on and I'm like, why the F did I hesitate? So when ChatGPT first came out, I had already had several hundred people in an AI membership.
Mhm.
And rather than going all in on ChatGPT and seeing that as like the greatest gift from the heavens that I was already ahead of so many people, I literally pouted for like 2 weeks. And I remember being on my driveway with my husband on a walk, like we were walking down the driveway, and I was like, I did this first. Like, what is wrong with you, Mahoney? Like, and I would see other people teaching AI stuff, and I was like, I had this like weird pout fest. It was so stupid. And I think if I had gone hardcore all in, like I look at Chris and Jen Gottlieb and Chris Whitfield. Is that what the heck? He's like a friend. I should know his last name, and I can't remember. Whatever. Chris and Jen, they did like $1 million in 6 months because they went all out on Facebook ads, and they weren't teaching AI at all before then, but they just like jumped into it and did it and learned it as we're all doing, like learn as we go. So I think it now looking at it, it's actually a really good reminder for me with my clients, because like you are a freaking wizard expert at the things that you are a wizard expert at. But I think sometimes we either take that for granted or we expect that other people, like our business will grow simply because we have that expertise. So I'm like, sometimes I fall into the trap of, yeah, well, I've been doing this since 2021. So obviously this should just work. But no, friend, you have to actually show up like the way that you are. You have to actually show up and get into those awareness playgrounds and put your hat in the ring. And I know it may seem like I do that a lot, because I do, but I think in some ways I have not shown up as much as I could.
Well, I think that the opportunity cost moments, right? Like when I talk to my clients about this, it's a lot of it. I say, yes, it would have been nice to buy a house in Maine in 1980, like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we looked at buying a house this year, and compared to what it would have cost us 2 years ago, the interest rates are insane. So that's true.
And so typically what I tell people is kind of like mom guilt. It doesn't work for us. Like worrying about opportunity cost does nothing, right?
Yeah.
But I hear you. I think that there's this space of I think AI does some amazing things, and we notice our brains developing new wild ideas we never thought we could do before, and even executing them. And we reach this level of shock about our capacity, and then we don't know what to do with our egos then, because it's like, wait, I made this, isn't it worth $1 million? Right?
Yeah. Well, and that I sometimes have the other effect where I'm like, I made this, but it's okay. It's like, it was easy for me to make. So, So I find like I've been having a lot of conversations with Claude lately, like, prove to me how awesome this is. Like, no, I need the math to prove this to myself. Like, I need to really get into the nitty gritty so that it's not simply an ego play, or like someone tells you that you should charge a certain amount for something. Like, sometimes I think we need to give ourselves, I did this recently. I built my own tree of beliefs. Like, we need to build our own buying beliefs around ourselves.
Yeah. Well, that's such an interesting point too, because I'm thinking about, like people pushing back on the value of coaching, even therapy, right? Like I can have a conversation with my AI accounts and I can get what I need, right? And I think that I wonder what you notice as a coach, as a person serving people, where they are just spinning themselves up so much in all these different conversations or builds, or, in getting support.
And like the digital hoarderness, like the attachment to what AI is creating for us sometimes also. And I have a good friend who may watch this episode. who entered her journals into ChatGPT, and it told her to leave her husband. And so she did. And it told her that she was meant to be with the person that she dated when she was 19 because she had been journaling about him since then. And so now she is married to that person that she dated when she was 19. And when she's very public about it. When she first told me this story, I was like, the decision had already been made and I didn't really know what to say to her on this phone call. I was like, okay, because I don't think ChatGPT is actually a therapist, but for her, it seems to have worked out. She seems very happy. I do think we need to be careful with the confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Because it definitely is more inclined to tell you that you're right than it is to tell you that you're wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's actually so interesting. Yeah. There's so many things that are interesting about that. But let's talk about showing up.
Okay.
You have been supporting people in showing up for a while now in lots of ways, right? It's like kind of an iteration. It's a through line in your career.
No, 1,000,000%. Like since I think I have been helping people to show up since I was 8 years old. Like that is the main thing. I actually was thinking the other day, I have these mugs, right? And we have an old mug that says show up that we haven't had out there in a while, but we need new show up mugs because I think that is really the ultimate through line of everything that we do. So good on you for spotting that.
Well, yeah. And we're going to talk about offers in a second, but in the showing up piece, right? Like, I've been talking about the Yap Challenge on the podcast. I've been talking about what it's, how people are like, oh my God, I need this. I want this. I want to be comfortable on camera. And as someone who helps people build digital offers and courses and whatever, like it's being comfortable as a teacher is so important, right? So what have you learned in the process of trying to get people to show up and be comfortable and build that confidence?
That one of the biggest things I think is that different people need different approaches. Like sometimes I come at things from just like forcing them to do it. Like, no, you got to do, just like an ultimate cheerleader / booty kicker, but matching someone's energy. And I'm sure this is exactly what, as a therapist, I'm sure you do as well. Matching someone's energy to help them come to that discovery is huge. And I remember when I was teaching singing lessons, there was a girl who was trying to get into the high school that my kids now go to, which is so cool, which is a performing arts high school. And she kept cracking on this top note, and being able to sing a crazy high note is a way of showing up because you can't feel your vocal cords. So you've got to like psychologically prepare yourself as well to not get in and get gripping around your goals. Same thing as a human and everything that we're doing. And so do you know what I said to her? I said, hey, okay, so just tell me, what's your goal with this? So I asked her what her goal was, and she said, well, to get into OSHA. And I said, okay, if you get into this school, what would be possible? And she said, well, then I'd get in and I'd be able to get into Stanford. And I was like, oh, which never had I equated singing that note with getting into Stanford. So then I was like, okay. And then what would happen? And she said, well, then I'd have my own law office with my law degree on the wall. And I was like, okay. And I think there maybe were a couple of extra questions. I get total goosebumps with this story. So I said, okay, so now and she was like, then I could be like a woman with this law office, all these things. And she's like 12, right? And I said, okay, so now knowing that that's what's going to happen when you get into OSHA, do you think we can sing this note? And she said, yes, we can. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And she totally nailed the note. Now, at this point, I walk into the theater at OSHA and the whole freaking theater is named after her and her brother because of all the magic that her and her family brought to that school. And I have seen her on LinkedIn that she's like out there rocking as this like businesswoman. And I look back on that conversation that I had with her when she was 12 years old about what would be possible for her if she could make that leap. I love helping people to see that possibility.
Such a good story. It's so funny because like the downer part of therapy is we do the opposite so much. It's like, what would be the worst? But what would be the worst thing? But what would be worse after that? Right. It's like, I think we could use a little bit more of the opposite side.
And sometimes what would be worse actually is work. There's another kid I did that with. And I was like, but if you really did this, like, what's the worst thing? And he ended up painting this super funny story of like, people would laugh so hard, they'd fall out of their chair, they'd break their leg, like all these things. And I'm like, okay, do we actually think that's going to happen? So it is a funny balance, man.
What you say though about differentiating your support is so against what we know is like gold standard coaching advice. Like in terms of scaling your approach, right? Like the idea of, okay, you want to serve many, like you have to have this strategy and it's got to be mappable. And a lot of times there's a lot of blame to be like, what did you do wrong that this strategy didn't work versus maybe my strategy doesn't work for you. And it's an interesting thing where you're noticing some flexibility of where are moving parts to my strategy, right?
Yeah. That's been huge. And this goes back to like a few years ago, I started talking about how the guru models don't work, because I think a lot of people are so hardcore committed to their very specific step-by-step that they don't leave any flexibility for the fact that they're actually helping someone with a very unique life and business. And sometimes I think I would love your thoughts on this, because sometimes I think I do this like teeter-totter thing where I'm like, no, this is the formula, because I have, as you know, I have a million frameworks, but this is the formula. And here's how you could customize it for yourself in these different ways. But sometimes I think I give so many options because I want to meet people where they're at, and then that becomes overwhelming. And it goes back to that conversation that I had where I was like, just choose for me. So sometimes the hardcore prescriptiveness of it can be very freeing. And then sometimes that room for flexibility can be really helpful too. So it's an interesting balance, I think.
I think it's necessary. And I think the fact that that's why we pull from these different, in the business world, it's called frameworks, right? But in the like sciencey world, it's theories, right? And so I'm not just going to die on one hill of one theory and say, oh, that's it. That's the way people get better, right? I'm going to, or that's how people achieve things, right? I'm going to blend these things in based on me and who comes to my door, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with AI, I mean, I've really aimed to be platform agnostic. And I know you've seen it. Like sometimes people get really crazy about like, you have to use Lovable. Like you can use Lovable. And I am celebrating you. That is great. I am not going to get a Lovable account because I use Base 44, but these strategies will work on both of them. So I try to stay in that like malleable place. And I think that I was saying this to my husband last night about some other stuff too, that I really celebrate in this moment. I'm very grateful for the fact that I've not had a lot of gripping energy around things, which has taken me a long time to get to that place. Because there's definitely been moments in my life where I have had that gripping energy, hardcore around things. So that's like an interesting thing to look at too.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that sometimes I'll get feedback on, sometimes I'll be like, why do I feel mildly successful in this process? Right. Which is still, when you're starting a small business, mild success is actually pretty great.
It's huge
because it's actually rare, right? It's not as common, right? You start these things and they just are ideas. And then, okay, then what's the next step, right? And sometimes the feedback I'll get is like the pivoting, right? Too much pivoting, right? And I think that there's this space.
The pivot, let's talk about that for a second, because I think pivoting is important, but if you are constantly making adjustments that are like, I think we need to do micro pivots, because if we're making a pivot that's so big, we don't have a chance to actually see something through to know if it's actually going to work. And that's, I think, part of the journey is figuring out what is it that like, how long do we stick something out to see if it's going to work? It's an interesting dance to know when that pivot needs to happen. So recognizing that as a pattern, maybe we can coin that term, the pivot pattern. It's a good thing as well.
I love it. All right. Well, one thing I do love to here's the real issue is sales is hard.
But is it? So if we don't know each other, my name is Molly Mahoney and I like to play romper room. So one of my favorite things to do is give us physical movements that we can do to anchor in beliefs. And so if you take your fingers like this and you rub them together and then you put it by your ear, you can hear me going, which is me whispering, this is so easy. And it can feel hard. And I come back to that sometimes too. But just like with working out, once you start doing something on a regular basis, you realize it actually feels good. And then you build that momentum. So we can tell ourselves that sales is hard, or we can tell ourselves that sales is easy and that sales is fun. And we can, we get to make the decision in that.
Where did you first learn to get over the heebie-jeebies of sales?
Oh, well, 1,000,000% auditioning in musical theater, because like all of those muscles, I am so grateful for that. I have had the ability to strengthen that confidence muscle. And that's why, like, I'm so glad that my kids are theater kids. I am a recovering theater kid. I know that there's a lot of baggage that comes with my theater kidness as well, but the strengthening of those muscles and the ability to know it's most likely not going to work out. Like when I was in New York auditioning, forget about like as a kid, right? I think for the most part, when I was a kid and I auditioned for things, there's only a couple of things I didn't get when I was a kid as an audition, which is, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse, right? I remember not getting a call back for a production of The Sound of Music when I was really little at a professional theater. My sister got a call back and I like bawled for weeks about it. But a lot of things, like I had my skill set and my thing dialed in, right? In high school and whatnot. As I got older, it became harder. And you really, as a professional musical theater performer, you legitimately sit outside in the snow for hours waiting to get into these buildings. And it's changed a lot since then because of 2020. But at the time, there was no video self-tape. You would sit outside. Sometimes you would wait 8 hours and then be turned away, not even allowed into the room. So the fact that you get, 30 seconds in front of the room to introduce yourself, present a tiny bit of a song, and then have them say, thank you very much, and then leave and have no feedback when you leave. Like those muscles were strengthened again and again and again and again. And that has helped with sales. It's helped with social media. It's helped with all of it. And it's still a muscle that you have to continue to strengthen. And I have to talk myself into it sometimes, but I'm grateful that I had all that practice.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you're not, like refusing to tolerate rejection. It feels like, right? It's this experience where, most of us are going to be like protecting ourselves from being rejected. Right. Yeah. And that happens in the sales process, right? It's sort of like when and if someone might reject and say, no, I don't want that. Or, and in performance, it's like kind of knowing it's worth it.
Yeah, man. Cause it's actually insane to think how often I have stood on a stage and just trusted the fact that the sounds are going to come out of my voice the right way. Right. And that's like the way that as a prepared performer, the preparation is a huge part of, it's not being like over practiced. It's a beingness. It's a constant, like I've always, since I first started this business, I've always said it's about living prepared. It's not about, hardcore practicing and then doing exactly like you planned. It's about being in a place where you're so prepared that you can go in any direction. You are able to play like volleyball with it all, right? Like that you're in that place of being able to dance with it. And the rejection piece is so big. And to recognize that there's never truly a rejection, it's a redirection. That's also a cool little rhyme. What was the other one we said? The pivot
pattern.
The pivot pattern. And it's not a rejection, it's a redirection.
I mean, that's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's a
And,
headband,
like,
maybe.
and finding that like truly these things are happening for us because of that, this or something better. Like, and that's a muscle to exercise where I talk about the method. Have you heard me talk about that?
Yes, but
Okay. So it's
you
a
have to say.
FFTT. And it's that when something bad happens, you face it and you're like, oh, this bad thing happened. Then you feel it and you're like, oh, this bad thing happened. And I think people often think that I'm just a Pollyanna, which I'm not. I feel pain also sometimes.
Yeah.
Hello. Side note, I have actually paid Stephanie to help me with some of these things as well. So Stephanie knows that I feel these things too. So you face it, you feel it, and then the magic comes in the first T, which is where you twist it. And so you ask yourself again and again, how do I make this a positive? How do I, like, what is the lesson in here? What is the positive? And then you get to the point where you thank it and you're like, I'm so glad that happened. It's not always easy, but it's a good muscle to strengthen.
It is. Yeah. And I think it's you can only do that though in sales if you practice it, right? And so that's this piece, I think, in both happening in marketing and showing up, but also having those next steps of being like, no, here's my offer, right? No, here's what I had. Do you want it, right?
Yeah. And knowing that there's an end goal in mind, like in our sales pipeline, we have completed call is one stage. Made offer is the next stage. And I was talking to one of our team members and she was like, Molly, why on earth would you have 2 stages for that? If you completed a call, you've made an offer. And I said, well, I look at where people drop off. And sometimes people actually forget that they're supposed to make a freaking offer on a sales call. So I've given them that grace to move someone into that stage. If not, they've completed the call and they haven't made an offer. That's where your problem lies. Right. And she was like, okay, well, if I'm going to be using this pipeline every time I'm on a call, I'm making an offer. And I said, more power to you. But I know that there are times where we chicken out.
And yeah. I wouldn't know anything about that. Yeah. I think that first of all, this has been so amazing. I have just like a couple more questions.
Yes.
Let you go and do your thing. I think that you are an amazing teacher.
Thank you.
And I think I learn layers from working with you. Like I learn the actual information as you are trying to convey it, the way that I'm learning also the layer of how you're conveying it, how to keep people's attention, how to manage some of the emotion that's happening in a room.
Especially in AI when everyone has their own computer issues at the same time.
I also find your style to be very accessible, which I think you have such an opportunity to like car repair people, right? Like be like, oh, the flipper jib and the Jabberwocky and the, like.
I just got asked to speak at an event in the car industry, which is so wild. So you mean because those terms are things we don't actually understand?
Yeah, you can just kind of sell better sometimes because people are confused. And I think that happens a lot, right? You can scare people to being like, your doodle whopper out of your car is going to fall out and you got to get a new car, right?
It's true. That's why integrity is important.
So
I do think there's a huge opportunity in helping people to see that it can be something that is simple. I think storytelling is so important. I think giving people metaphors for all of the tech stuff. Like I spoke at an event recently where I always ask in the audience, like, how many of you have done custom GPTs, skills, whatever, like these different things. And there were a couple of people who were super wizards. And one of them, like every metaphor that I made, he was like, yeah, like I locked eyes with him and he was just in it. Right. But he was this really tech guy. And I wouldn't talk to him ever afterwards. And I said, oh my gosh, I am obsessed with you. Like, thank you for your visual feedback. And he said, well, the thing is that I just spoke at an event last week. And as I tried to explain these moments and like these technical things, as I tried to explain these technical things, I lost everybody because I didn't have the ability to make it something that they could actually tangibly understand. And I was like, oh, and he said, I can't believe how well you did that. It's like, thank you. I'm also just going to take a moment to say, Stephanie just disappeared. And I was like, I cannot react to this because this is a moment to prove that I'm a prepared performer and I have to keep going.
I know. It was amazing. And you didn't skip a beat.
I may have gone, and there is something else that you need to know.
I know. Oh
Thank you for giving us that opportunity. But I do think there's a huge opportunity, like in the way Anna Connie has been, you know, using all these like metaphors of the surfing and the metaphors of the, like, there's all these things we can do, and the visuals that you're creating that are so beautiful. Like there's just so much we can do to help the muggles understand.
Exactly. Yeah. The normies who don't know anything about developing or anything. Right. Yeah. Well, I think that, yeah, it's been a pleasure, a joy to learn from you. What are you most excited about in your world right now?
In my world or in work?
Well, I don't know. I kind of want to know both, but you know, let's talk about your business too.
Okay. I mean, really, I love installing this AI soul system and AI team members for people. I messaged Emma today because I had a private call with someone where I was building this out with them. And the possibility is actually mind-blowing. You know, I just got back from this trip to Malaysia where we built out their soul system, we built out their AI team, and I trained 15 team members in their company on how to do this. And it was absolutely wild what it gives them. And I love seeing people get it. And I love knowing that we can actually install something that is so usable. Like it's not a theory. It's not, you know, a concept. It's like a real freaking thing. And now that we've been doing this new version for a couple of months because Claude Cowork is so awesome and accessible, and it just keeps getting better and better. And this computer, which I know you can't see, but I have an extra computer over here that's running on its own. I am just completely mind blown. It is like so cool. So yeah, I love it so much.
Yeah.
And I love all the humans. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. And you're doing, yeah, I mean, it's powerful to be like, oh, I know how this is going to help you and save time and improve communication. And right.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. I think it's so cool. And I think it empowers people to be able to go out and make a bigger impact, which is like the most important thing that I'm here to do, is to help people to show up, like you said. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing a traiing on that.
Oh, I didn't even strategically say that on purpose, but that was a really good strategic answer, Mahoney. I am doing a training on it tomorrow. So we're going to be doing a 4-hour deep dive where we're starting from the very beginning, installing the whole system, and you'll leave with 14 working team members.
I know. My confession is I haven't done it yet.
Well, that's great. Come tomorrow. And you know, we did it. So what I had done, kind of like I mentioned earlier, initially when I taught this system, I really didn't want to be prescriptive. I wanted poor Anna Connie was like, you know, I wanted people to go into their own email and their calendar and their Slack and pull out the data and then base everything on their actual business. But I know some of our clients don't have all the data that I have. And so they have a lot of it in their heads. And so then the reason I say poor Anna Connie is because she was like committed, right? And she went through and like documented all herself on paper. What I have realized is it is helpful to start with a proven framework. And now that I've been using these AI agents for so long, I've created already, it's ready for tomorrow morning. I've created these 14 agents. I've already installed it in a few clients' businesses. And I'm super excited about being able to give people the foundations, like their initial hires, and then they can build upon that.
Amazing.
It's so cool.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's been so special. If people should subscribe to the Innovative Practice Innovative Expert Substack. This also goes to YouTube. This like shoots out to YouTube.
At the same time, I'm interested.
I love like the tone. It's like the begrudged interest of like, why do you have to show me something cool, Stephanie?
I know. I'm trying to stay focused, Stephanie.
Yeah. Well, your soul system is set. So like maybe you have a Substack employee, right?
Oh, maybe I'm going to work on that. I put together a free gift for your friends. Do you know what it is?
No.
I would love. So like we talked a lot about the connection piece, and a huge part of that is figuring out who the heck you want to connect with. So figuring out your ideal client avatar is so important. And so we have an ideal avatar generator that I have put together totally for free. And you can get it if you go to molly.live/Dr. Thrower.
It has my name in it.
It has your name in it.
Oh my gosh. It was a true gasp. This is so helpful because I'm moving and shaking. I'm micro pivoting, right? But we all know this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'm just so happy you were here.
Thank you so much. And if you're watching this video and you're not working with Stephanie, why not? She is the best. I have hired her. You should too.
See how I forgot? Yep. Okay. All right.
Amazing.
Bye,
I love you. I'm so grateful. Continue to show up. So good. You're a rock star.
Bye.
Bye.